Gonna make the world a better place. Gonna make the world a better place. Gonna make the world a better place. Gonna make it home.
What up?
Hey, hey, hey.
We back in here. Footprints, the blueprints
You're
is in the
yelling.
building. What? I'm just trying to adjust myself, man. Like, I'm not yelling.
Yeah, okay.
What are you trying to say? Are you stereotyping?
So I have a funny thing that happened today. I have to show you something.
What? You have
ready?
something to show me?
Okay.
Hey, girl.
So a patient decided...
Should I be scared?
Been very generous this week, actually. I mean, within reason. They brought in that cool Bigfoot metal thing the other day. That was really sweet. But
Oh, that's really cool.
this also was brought in. So how do you... It's long. It's long. So do you...
It's
I
long.
I don't think I'm going to be able to... Here, hold my coffee for a second.
Are you going to need assistance
Yeah,
opening
maybe.
this?
Okay.
You need help?
Yeah.
Should we call in the relief team?
I gotta see where the... Okay, so you're gonna open it like this. You're gonna do this, and I'm gonna unroll it. But I want you to close your eyes, and
Okay.
then you'll...
Ooh, what is this, girl? Don't be telling me to close my eyes.
Hold on to it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna open it up, and then I want you to look at it.
This is really long. Is it still going? It's covering my face.
Okay.
How am I supposed to do
You have
this?
to pull it behind you or something.
What
It's
is
nice-
this?
It's like the picture of Rose on Titanic.
Bro, is that a raccoon
What are we doing with
covering
Yeah.
Bigfoot's private parts? Bro, what am I supposed to do with
I
this?
thought we should put it on the counter on the back.
We're not hanging this in our office. It
Day. Just to see
no.
reactions.
Patients are gonna be like, what kind of sexual innuendo is this? Like,
By a patient.
hi, welcome to Bigfoot Podiatry. Like, they're gonna feel so freaked out about this. Here's my thing. What are the thoughts, though? We have to ask the audience, like, what are the
Do you
thoughts?
want this in your office?
Would you hang this anywhere? Not just, yeah. Would you hang this in your bedroom?
On the ceiling.
What if you walked into your bedroom and your partner had hung this on the ceiling? It would be weird. Yeah. It would be signaling it's getting weird.
Well, that was nice.
But that was a nice gesture. I just don't know. And look at the claws.
Look at this material. It's like...
They went through effort to
they
get that
did.
printed out. Thank you to whoever did that. I think it's really funny. I don't think I can hang that in my place of business. Yeah, that would be interesting to know. Leave that in the comments. What's the craziest gift someone's ever given you? Let's try to keep it PG-13.
Well, what was that? That was like NR.
Yeah, that was, I don't know if that was
Lord.
appropriate, but fun.
Oh, man.
No, it's really cool when patients provide,
gratitude.
show gratitude for the stuff that we're doing, because we do work really hard to make sure that we're providing a great service in our business. We love helping people. It's, one of our skill sets is making people feel heard, seen, being empathetic, right?
I love it when I have patients who I'm a little anxious about going into the encounter just because I know that something has happened and they may not be 100% happy. Or, for example, this woman has had like metatarsalgia or a ball of foot pain, and she possibly has a neuroma and the whole thing. And so we did orthotics with metatarsal pad and treated it. And the orthotics she tried and just never could fully break in. And so she isn't wearing them all the time. And so at that point, it was past the period in which we could get them fixed and changed. And I did modify them in clinic. But so I was nervous going into the encounter this week because, you just don't know what she's going to say. Some people are really mean and nasty. And anyway, so the encounter went really well. And then at the end of it, we had a good conversation. We talked about feet for like 5 minutes. Usually that's how it goes. And then the rest of the 25 minutes or whatever is life. And so we were having a really good conversation, and she walked out and was going to leave, and she's as needed. And she was like, "Can I hug you?" I love that. I mean, some patients you're like creeped out because you don't want to hug them, but and then it was such a good embrace. Like it just felt good, and that's all we want, is just to have the connection with those patients. And that's what we do have. And I think that's why people like coming here, because we are normal and we treat them like people, and there's no hierarchy of that we're the doctors and they're the patients, and there's no, I mean, obviously we have boundaries, but it's definitely a situation to where these people are our family. I mean, that's why we've decored the office so the way that we have, as far as it looks like a living room when you walk in, because these people are our family.
I mean, we spend more time here than we do at the house, you
Yeah.
know, a lot of the days. But what I was going to say is what I tell my patients all the time is my loyalty is not to the product that I'm providing you.
Yeah.
It's to you as
Right.
my
Absolutely.
patient.
That's
And
a good way
so
to say it.
there's going to be things that don't work for certain
Yes.
people, and that's okay, right? I mean, that's us going through our progression of what could work for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is the art of medicine that a lot of people don't talk about. Like, hey, you're taught in school that if you have this certain pathology or disorder or condition, these are the recommended treatments, but that doesn't mean that that treatment's going to work for every person. And so what you have to do is you have to be mindful of that. You have to not take that personally and then say, and do your research and go, what else could I do to potentially help this patient? And from that, you progress as a physician, as an artist, because I tell my patients all the time, I feel like more of an artist than I do a physician.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because it truly is an art, and we get better through seeing patients and different pathologies and running into some of those hiccups where it's like, hey, this first line treatment that I use for most of my patients that typically work is not working for this patient. So what else can I do to try to give them relief? So that's cool. Yeah, I love it. And then we get gifts of gratitude, like Bigfoot.
It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. It was really, really
Oh
thoughtful.
man. Well, we have what's moving with the house. We got
Man,
insulation is happening to
yeah, man. So
world.
we're getting some insulation into our walls, which is gonna be really cool. And then we'll get drywall,
Drywall starting on Monday.
which is gonna be big. We've done a lot of
Oh,
demo.
and the French doors are getting installed on Saturday.
French doors are getting installed, which is
That's
gonna be
annoying.
beautiful.
Let's talk about that for a second. When you order doors, windows, all of these things, and it's expensive, you know,
Yeah.
and then you get it delivered and then they say, oh, well, your order's not here, or half part of your order's not here. And you're like, well, why didn't you give me a call? We had no idea. And so then it's frustrating because the house is boarded up because we got it prepared and then you don't know. It's so frustrating when that
It
happens.
felt like we were living in a dungeon
It
because
still feels like it.
we had no light.
And we have no electrical in the kitchen. The new kitchen, we have no electrical because there's working on that. And so it was literally like a dungeon.
But it's really felt like camping, and it's for me, it's been a very humbling experience as far as what are the basics that you need to live and survive.
right.
We live in a day and age and a country, right, where it's like more, right? And you get to be in a situation where you really understand you just need the basics,
Yep.
right? I mean, we're fortunate that we have running water, that we have lights in our home, that we have heat, you know, and so I don't take any of those things for granted. And I'm just thankful that we have the opportunity to make our home something beautiful for our children. You know, our whole thought process as we go through and redo our home is how can we make this a loving environment for our kids, right? A place where they can come home, sit down, do their homework. How we create is we think of everything being an art piece. Not everyone thinks like that or creates like that or is able to go into a room and see a room for the potential of what it could be. I think that's what excites us about being creatives in general. And so we wanted to start Footprints to Blueprints so that people could see the other side of Dr. Jeremy and Allie Cross, so
Right.
they could see Jeremy and Allie,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And we could be vulnerable
Ideally,
ourselves.
what we love, that's our hobby, is interior design and
Yeah.
designing and building and doing all of these things. It's something that we truly love.
We're talking about how our passion is doing
Interior.
interior design. Yeah, no, we really,
Oh, antiquing.
we love treasure hunting,
Yep.
which is antiquing. And we really gained a passion for that when we were doing our residency in Ohio. And it was like antique mall after antique mall and understanding and learning about the history of some of these pieces.
Do you remember when we first got to residency and you were like, we're not putting anything in the house. We're going to live bare minimum.
Yeah.
And then we had no money either. And we had just traveled across country in our green minivan. And we went to the Goodwill there. And it was awesome. And we got so many pieces
They had
of
a blue
furniture.
couch. I wanted to keep that blue couch. It was really,
But
really
we got
nice.
so, I mean, that was when the angels were truly with us because we got so much stuff.
It was like Goodwill literally had furnished
Our house.
our house and everything was displayed.
We still
for
have
our
some of those
space.
pieces.
Yeah, we do. No, but it goes to show you that everything doesn't have to be brand new.
Yeah.
In order
Some
to
people's
really make
trash
space.
is another's treasure, that whole concept. It's
Absolutely.
really cool.
Yeah. So being able to go through this process with you guys and show you how we combine old pieces with
Mm-hmm.
new pieces and create our aesthetic is going to be really, really fun and bring you into our home a little bit and show you what our space looks like and, you know, where we go to unwind and also, you know, go to
I'm
kind
just
of
thinking about when we took the beach walk the other day and we got that little table.
We got an awesome table off the beach that my in-laws thought was trash, but I'm like, you know what?
It's for the chicken coop. It can be a little rusty.
They're like, make sure you take that with you. I'm like, and we will. We took it with us. It'll look beautiful. Yeah, we'll show you the table that they were talking about. I thought it was great. I mean,
It's for the chickens.
it's for the chickens to climb on, so that's cool. Yeah, our daughters are loving the chickens. It's been a great experience. I was really apprehensive about getting
But
chickens.
it hasn't been that bad.
They haven't been that bad. The chickens are no longer babies anymore. They're teenagers, and so they're
They're like chunky. They're chunky.
they're chunky, and the personalities when you're watching the
It's
chickens,
funny.
it's really, really funny. They antagonize each other,
Yep.
but they roll in this group. So like when you take one of them away,
They're like, wow, wow,
they're like, "Where's my sister at? Where'd my homegirl go? Like seriously? And who's this black guy trying to pick up my other sister?" I'm like, "What?" Yeah. So they get.
Well, because your hands are like douche,
I do. I try to come in calm and
but you
gentle,
don't.
but they're
Or
like,
you're wearing your big old work gloves, and then they're like, "Wah."
yeah, they're not really feeling it. But
But
they've
Chili
been.
has
they've
been
great.
so cute. We have a dog, and she is a Bernese Mountain Dog, German Shepherd mix, and
Yeah.
she is their mama. It's so cute.
Totally. We'll have to show you guys pictures. She literally just sits there and she perches.
She like
chickens go
herds
around.
them too.
Yeah. It's been
Really
a great.
sweet.
It's been a really great experience.
But my patient today told me she has pigs.
We're not getting a pig. No. That's why I draw the line.
I said, after you leave, he's gonna say, "No way."
We can't.
He'll put on the show for you in front of you.
The smile. The smile. Yeah. In my mind, I'm like, there's no way. We'll talk about it later. We're not talking about that. We're not getting pigs. The pig is really cute and they're super smart. Pigs are, I mean, we know they're filthy.
They
It's-
stay outside.
They do, but
Maybe I have a vision where they could go and it's not on our property. So we'll see.
only time will tell.
Right.
But that's just a lot.
As it always
We're
does.
still working with the chickens.
The chickens still don't have a coop.
Yeah.
That comes
exactly.
on Friday.
That we'll be building. So we'll tell you guys how that goes.
Yeah.
Doing projects with your spouse.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that.
I think we handle that pretty well. I mean, we work together, which is not
Yeah,
easy for most
but
people.
you ladies, how many out there have husbands who don't follow directions? That's what I would also like to know.
Listen, okay. First of all, fellas, all right. The instructions are not
Or we
meant
should
for
just say
everybody.
Excuse me.
They're
But then you
not.
get mad because you're like,
Not mad.
they're missing a piece. It doesn't fit. We have to take it back.
And half of the
No.
time they're missing a screw.
Okay. That's happened somehow to be in your pocket.
Listen, I just feel like there's this intuitiveness to be able to
Really?
build
Okay.
without having instructions. It's
Yeah,
like
I understand. And then I have to go back and fix it because
And
you're
you're-
so frustrated and you leave this project.
that's not true. I think we work very well together. We run a practice together.
We do. But
We
that
don't-
doesn't take away that you don't use instructions. And it usually will
I feel
delay
that
the
a lot of people
process.
don't use instructions.
That's fine.
Here's my question to you guys. I want you to tell me what are the percentage of people that you think that don't follow instructions? Is it 10%, 20%? And do you think it's more men than female? Because not every partnership is a male and female partnership, right? So I'd be interested to know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be crazy. What else we got moving?
What's going on Friday?
My baby girl's graduating from kindergarten.
I know she's doing so well though. I mean, it's just crazy I can't believe it. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. You know what's also crazy is that Lele is turning 5. That one is really hitting me hard
Yeah.
too. Like I can't believe that.
Them growing older and having this experience, right? Like Adriel is graduating from kindergarten. Lele is going to be 5. It's really, and then just all the other things that are going on in our life, right? Like we're dealing with family members who are battling sickness. We're dealing with friends who are battling sickness. We ourselves,
Right.
are battling, things as far as health, right? And I think that's something that so many people, especially providers, don't talk about. Doctors come into the room and patients think that, man, this guy looks healthy and everything's fine. Like this guy's, there's nothing wrong with you, right?
I had that interaction with a patient a couple of months ago, remember?
They have no idea that you're like, bro, like I deal with chronic pain just like you. Yeah. Like I'm a human being, man. Like I'm dealing with pain myself, right?
Pain, loss, discomfort,
all of it.
Mourning, anxiety, depression. Like that is life.
Hear the dump trucks in the back? Like, what is going on?
Well, the mowers were outside earlier.
Guys, excuse me. We have a podcast studio here. Can you hold off on picking up the trash? Like, what the hell, man?
Oh, my Lord.
Get it together. Okay. So, no, it's changed as I continue to grow as a person, as a parent, as a husband. Your perspective just changes so much. And all I can think about is wanting to spend more time with my children.
Yes, right. Ashley, my sister, we've had conversations about this, right? Because Charlie is 13 and she in her mind is getting this really big anxiety about these last years. She feels like she's on this timeline because he's going to be gone in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And she's like, I just feel like I'm running out of time. And that feeling as a parent is really hard because then they leave the nest and they go to college and they grow up and they mature and hopefully they are successful and good people of the community but they're no longer in your little home and so some may be, but it's a weird concept, right? Because you have spent every waking moment making sure these kids are breathing and living and happy, and sometimes they're not, and they're going through puberty and all of that stuff. But yeah, it's a heavy feeling to have that on your shoulders of just feeling like you're out of time. And, so it's enjoying the experiences, right? So it's kind of one of those things like I've talked a lot about that with patients and friends about not buying materialistic things for kids or even parents or friends, but and do something that is an experience that we can share together and have memories. And I don't feel like that was really, my parents raised us with experiences, not with materialistic things. That's how I think I was raised with that. But we didn't have the fancy electronics. We didn't have the fancy cars, like none of that. We didn't have that. And just continuing that. I think the world and society has gotten so twisted about all of those materialistic things. And that's how people are and whatever.
But there's a way different pressure. Even when we were growing up, right? Like you didn't have the cell phones where you were consistently seeing, you had the advertisements on television, but when these kids are consistently seeing other children have these toys, the fancy cars, right? Even for us as adults, it's a very challenging thing. And so trying to raise your child in today's day and age and keep them focused on not falling in love with the trinkets and knowing that, man, life in itself, the experience of life is so beautiful and it's so precious. And if we're spending all of our time with our heads down on a phone, that's a problem,
Right.
Like even for me, going through the process and now speaking with, a therapist and then talking about, right? Like if I'm always trying to achieve, if my goal is always to acquire more and that next goal, then I'm missing out on life.
But you shouldn't be at fault for that because that is what society has ingrained into your head, that is the right thing to do as a husband, as a father, as a
provider.
Yes. That is what is difficult, is because you've been trained to think that you're not successful if you don't have.
Right.
And that is a really hard thing because that is a person, as a male in the family or the relationship, and it's not gender related either, but as that person in that family, we've talked about this before, is that my job is to make sure the kids are breathing every single day. And your job that weighs on you is to make sure that they're financially in a position to where they're successful, whether that be to go to college or, go to schooling of whatever type of school and be able to buy a house and all of that. And those pressures are heavy. And so you carry that pressure because that's important to you to make sure that the kids are successful as they get older. But when we step back from that, what is that doing to you?
Yeah.
And, recognizing how we can do it together and it's not all on your shoulders. I mean, you having a partnership versus just a mom and dad thing where we're on two separate ends of the spectrum, it's challenging. It's challenging.
But we're not huge gender role people.
No,
I mean,
not.
we are very much, a job needs to be done, and whoever is available to get that job done needs to get the job done for the betterment of the family. And I'm thankful for you in assisting with that, because as a male, there is that pressure to always provide, especially when you grow up in a single parent household. And my whole vision and my goal and my push has always been to be the best father and the best husband that I could possibly be, being the best husband first and obviously being the best father second. But it's a heavy load that so many men don't talk about. And then you have those battles, especially in my community, in the Black community, where therapy is just looked down upon, right? And so a lot of these pressures that you deal with going through the everyday world and even in your own home front, you don't talk about. And so you hold those things inside internally. Then what takes place is it causes inflammation in your body. Then that leads to cancer, high blood pressure, neurological diseases, right? And so realizing that we have to let that stuff go. And the Jeremy that I was when I was 18 years old and playing ball is not the Jeremy that I am now. And it's okay for me to let that fight or flight mechanism go, where it's like, I have to survive, bro. If I don't get through this, we're not eating, right? Like, how do you turn that off, right? And
when you've been doing it for 38 years.
You have to, right? And people that have been through that know that, that tense feeling of being like, bro, I can't, if I don't
make this right step, if I don't grind hard at this right step, and if it doesn't happen,
I don't pass that test, it's over. It's done. I'm not my life, I don't have a safety net, right? And so finally being in a place in my life where I can be like, but I do have a safety net, I have a wife who loves me. I have 2 children who love me, right?
But we also went to go back to you and I made that decision how many years ago to get the stable job career to where we don't have to worry about that. I mean, our goal isn't to make a certain number of dollars every year. It's to be financially free. And that was a huge part of our process is to get here. But we absolutely had to be fight or flight during that entire way.
Yeah.
And so it's both of us transitioning out of that because it's hard. I mean, it's challenging to really say, okay, that was that phase, that was that season. And within that large season, there were little seasons that we had to get through. But this is a different season. We need to change the season of that fight or flight mode. I mean, we can also control the season changing in this realm. And I think us acknowledging that happened, and that's where we had to be at that point in time. Well, okay, so we did it, and how do we change that? It's a whole mind, body, soul switch because, I mean, people say it takes 3 weeks to break a habit, but this is much more than a habit. This is a way of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And just understanding that what's the pinnacle?
Yeah, right.
Dope. All right, guys. Thanks for coming and joining us on Footprints to Blueprints. Today, we spoke about getting patient gifts for gratitude for the services that we provide them. Also, a little bit what's going on at our home front with the chickens and raising our girls to have an appreciation for the outdoors. And then
sharing experiences
and what is important to them and us rather than just falling in love with trinkets. And so super excited to continue this journey with you guys. This is Footprints to Blueprints. I'm Dr. Jeremy Cross.
And I'm Dr. Allie Cross. Have a great day, guys.
Gonna make the world a better place.